G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright, people, review of the week time. So, let's talk about AJ Usyk. There's obviously more fights that have been on over the weekend, but primarily we're going to focus on AJ Usyk, some of the ramifications that come from that. Obviously, we'll talk about, there is other news in boxing, plenty of news, some good news too, but Usyk Joshua, let's talk about this. Let's start with having a look at the undercard, okay? So that guy Money Kicks, whoever the hell he is, he had his first pro fight. The YouTuber, that's the only reason how I know him, because I think they were talking about him in KSI or something. He fought a Bulgarian journeyman with 1-3, lost 3 times, all by knockout, all early too, and he got beat. So that is case in point of you don't play boxing. Now, thankfully, he wasn't hurt or anything like that, but imagine you put him in there with someone anyway. A journeyman with a bit of power, he would have laid him out. So, whatever he does for YouTube, stick with that. Boxing maybe ain't for you. Ben Whittaker, obviously he had his fight against Peter Norsik. I think he said he had a slight injury going in, and it went 6 rounds. He was a bit critical with his performance. At the end of the day, it's only his second pro fight. I think Ben Whittaker, they can move him quicker than, we'll say, the likes of Joshua Buatsi were moved and people like that, but he still needs to take some learning fights. Now here's the fight here. I just couldn't believe they made this fight, because the original fight was Andrew Tabiti versus, Tyrone Spine, and Spine still hasn't fought yet. It's been 3 years. So they announced the replacement opponent, and they announced the opponent would be James the Beast Wilson. And the reason why I look at it and say I can't believe that is that I only, at the start of July, did a boxing hype jobs video on this channel. Right, it's on the channel, it's no problem. No copyright or issue, so it's still there. And the first fighter that came to mind when I was doing a bit of research and thinking who will I talk about on that fight, someone who's maybe, we have loads of hype jobs that we could still talk about, your Prices, your Kellys, people like that. But I was thinking Wilson, because he did in about 2018 have a bit of a big following, especially an Instagram following, because he was explosive, short, stocky, heavyweight, and threw short punches, and people were comparing him to Tyson. And I was like, this guy is garbage. Like, you could even see in those clips, this guy was garbage. So they put him in there with Tabiti, and guess what Wilson was? He was garbage. Absolutely garbage. He was down in the down in the 5th round, and the corner stopped it after that. I mean, I can't believe that I only made that video saying, because I said at the time, because he hadn't lost yet, but he had 1 draw against the journeyman in 2019, and I said if he ever fights again, don't expect the next Mike Tyson, expect the next Usman Ahmed. Well, he didn't get Usman Ahmed, he didn't get knocked out that bad, but Wilson is going nowhere, absolutely nowhere. I just want to talk about that. I just couldn't believe that. Like, I only made that video and there he is on the undercard. Like, what? The Badu Jack versus Richard Rivera, I should say. Now, this fight right here, I thought Richard Rivera won the fight. It did not make for the most compelling viewing in the world, but I thought Richard Rivera won the fight. Thought he did more of what he wanted to do. Thought he landed the better shots. Thought he made Badu Jack look a bit uncomfy in there. Badu Jack up a cruiserweight. I don't think cruiserweight is his ideal weight. I think light heavy is, but he's up there with cruiserweight anyway. Looks a bit softer at that weight. He is 38 years old. He has slowed down a wee bit, and I felt he was very fortunate to get the nod. He also, I think it was the 7th or the 8th round, but Sky said it was a 4-minute round. Now, I don't know if it was that long, but it was certainly over the 3-minute mark. And this had me worried going into the main event, because I was like, you've Badu Jack, who was essentially the house fighter. He's got, he's very, I think he's close to a lot of people in that part of the world. He's, I think he's lived there, maybe has he? But I know he's close kind of in that region of the world. He might have even lived there for a bit. But Badu Jack was the house fighter, and I was thinking, crap, if Badu Jack can buzz this guy and they give him an extra nearly a minute, to try and finish him. That doesn't bode well for the rest of the card. Now, as it was, Rivera got through it. Again, I felt he won the fight. I think that, I think he had every right to feel a bit aggrieved at the end of that fight. He really did. Hrgovic then fought Zhang. Well, actually, it was actually Smith who fought next, but we'll talk about Hrgovic Zhang. So Hrgovic, I expected him to beat Zhilei Zhang relatively easily. It was anything but. He was dropped in the first round. Now, when I seen that live, I said, oh, it's a slip. But then I seen the referee counting, and I was thinking, okay, did I miss something? Did I miss how the shot landed, and did he go down? I thought I missed something. When they showed the replay, it's topped on the literally the back of the head and shoved down. I was like, that's not a knockdown. And maybe that affected Hrgovic neurologically, I don't know. Because he fought so strange thereafter, because he was winning the first round pretty handily. And he just fought so strange. He had moments where Zhang would touch him with the left hand. And so, sometimes Zhang was touching him hard with the left hand. So Hrgovic, I had a feeling that Hrgovic would have a decent chin. He sure as hell showed it. But he get tagged and he just kind of... It wasn't like he was dazed because he was hurt. It was just like mentally he was switching off, if you know what I mean. Now, I know he's suffered losses. His father recently passed away. So, of course, that's obviously going to play on your mind. I get that. But it was still just strange seeing the way he reacted when Zhilei Zhang would pressure him, and his defense was non-existent. He looked very poor in there to Hrgovic, very poor. And, it was one of them kind of fights. I don't really mind Hrgovic getting the nod. Zhang had a lot of success. He did outwork him. But it was a strange fight. Strange fight, very strange. One thing I will say, both guys were absolutely knackered by the end. I think Zhang, in the mid-rounds, which were some of his best rounds, really emptied the kitchen sink. And I think that the gas tank was well and truly empty at that point, because from the 7th or 8th round onwards, his mouth was open constantly. He could barely hold his hands up. But Hrgovic as well, he looked fatigued as all hell as well. I can imagine the heat in there, the humidity in the arena with the lights beaming down would have taken a toll on you. I can imagine. I'd say the two of them, the two of them were pretty uncomfy after that fight. But it was a strange one. It really was. Hrgovic now is, I believe, mandatory for the IBF. So we'll see. Potentially that's an Anthony Joshua fight, next fight then. Because Hrgovic has a mandatory position. AJ might figure. Eddie Hearn might figure. Looks fairly straightforward. I should be able to deal with him, no problem. We'll take that fight. Callum Smith then fought I was able to say his name last night. Now it's escaping me. It's escaping me. But nevertheless, Callum Smith knocked him out in the 4th round. It's not escaping me. I'm just struggling to pronounce the name. I'm not going to try and butcher it. Callum Smith knocked him out in the 4th round. Very good left hook. Had him down early in the 4th round as well. Now, Callum Smith looked devastating, but Jesus Christ, people, did he get hit. If that guy had power, how many knockouts did he have? Okay, so he 12 knockouts in 21 fights. So he a fair puncher, but nothing spectacular by the looks of that. Callum Smith should thank his lucky stars that guy didn't have serious power, because he was getting hit a lot. Oh boy, was he getting hit a lot in this fight. I was surprised how, because he's trained with Buddy McGirt now, and he normally has his fighters reasonably good defensively. Reasonably good defensively. So when I saw that, I was kind of scratching the head like, what's going on here? What the hell is he doing? That's literally what I was like, what is going on here? He better be careful. Now, if Callum Smith did the job, he was able to get rid of the guy, and it is what it is. That was all she wrote. And then we go into the main event. Now, this is where the fun begins. Anthony Joshua, Oleksandr Usyk. Now, I've already done a video talking about AJ, what his next steps are. But with Usyk, Usyk said in the immediate aftermath, in the post-fight interview in the ring, when it was asked about Tyson Fury, he said, if not Tyson Fury, no one. So that to me kind of would indicate that I think Usyk, I wouldn't be surprised if Usyk's not around in 18 months' time. That's not wishful thinking or anything like that. I just genuinely feel as though Usyk is coming towards the point now where he's achieved absolutely everything. He's achieved absolutely everything he needed to achieve. Tyson Fury has said he's willing to come back and fight Oleksandr Usyk. Okay, let's have a look-see. He says he's willing to do it, but is he actually willing to do it? Would he be willing to go? I don't know. Oleksandr Usyk says, I'm sure that Tyson Fury is not retired. I'm convinced he wants to fight me. I want to fight him. If I'm not fighting Tyson Fury, I'm not fighting at all. So he wants Tyson Fury. Oleksandr Usyk wants him. Fury said he's willing to come back. Again, the way he spoke about, the difference he spoke about what he wanted for fighting Usyk to what he wanted for Joshua a couple of weeks ago, it had me kind of thinking if Usyk wins, it's going to be a hit and a miss. And I still think it's a hit and a miss whether we see Fury versus Usyk. Yeah, he's saying he's going to come back, but who knows? I mean, just last week he said he was retired, didn't he? Said he was, I mean, he vacated the Ring Magazine title. So who knows with Fury what the situation is. But saying you'll fight AJ for free, but then saying you want $500 million to fight Usyk, it's a big difference. Now, Usyk and Fury is a very interesting fight. Very, very interesting fight. If that fight was announced next, right now, I would, if you gave me a fiver, I'd put it on Tyson Fury. I'd put it on Tyson Fury. But I'd make Usyk a very live opponent in there. Very, very live. It's an interesting fight. And that really is the last kind of box ticked for both fighters. I mean, if you think about it like this, right? Both guys are undefeated, right? Undisputed at the end. If you want to sail off into the sunset after that, I mean, the winner literally has got a big, big money fight. Sailing off into the sunset undefeated. They've got all the titles. What more do you want? Get undisputed made. I want to see it. I think the world want to see it. I want to see Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. I genuinely, hand on heart, hope we get that next. In terms of Usyk, Joshua, credit to Usyk. He did a fantastic job. I really do think that we are going to look back in years to come with Oleksandr Usyk. And we're going to be very grateful that he was around in our era. That we have a fighter like this. Because he's a tremendous talent. I think the first time I watched Usyk was just before he fought. Now, I'd seen Usyk in the amateurs prior, but as a pro, I knew he turned pro, but I probably really only had a proper look at him just before he fought Glowacki, maybe 2 fights before. He just is tremendous. And you could see it then, what he was going to do. And it's just tremendous fighter. You know, he really is. And I think we will look back in years to come and say, yep, we're lucky we got to see Usyk fight. We're lucky we got to see it. I'm lucky I got to watch him. I've never been to a fight of his watch live. I would have loved to. But I'm lucky I got to spend some nights watching Usyk. And it's been tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. He's given me so much entertainment. Saying that, so was Anthony Joshua. And this fight was no different. I enjoyed it throughout. It was weird. Like, I did expect drama in the fight. And I don't think we really got that, but it was still edge of your seat action because you got the impression that there was drama just around the corner, if you know what I mean. Like, you got the impression that, oh, is he going to drop a right hand? Is AJ going to catch Usyk? Is Usyk going to lead with the left and catch it? You kind of felt something was always going to happen. It kept you on the edge of your seat, had you thinking a lot. It was a better AJ, a much better AJ. In terms of what he needs to do next, you would say probably, I'll stick with Robert Garcia first and foremost. I think he definitely showed signs of improvement there, 100%. But the 2 names come to mind, Dylan White and Filip Hrgovic, come to mind for Anthony Joshua next. Hrgovic, you get the IBF eliminator. Dylan White, you don't really get anything for it. I wouldn't imagine there'd be any eliminator or title on the line or anything like that. But it's a big fight, certainly for the casuals in the UK. And at the end of the day, you know, get this. Look, for Anthony Joshua, it's a fine fight. For Dylan White, probably get battered, but I think that they'll just do a bit of nostalgia in it. Oh, 7 years ago for a British title. Now look at them, you know, kind of probably something like that. But AJ Usyk, again, tremendous. I, again, hope we get to see him versus Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury did say he's coming out of retirement. He is coming back and willing to fight Oleksandr Usyk. So I hope he makes true on that. I really do. As for the Anthony Joshua, what do you want to call it, really? Like, it wasn't really a post-fight interview. The Anthony Joshua, I don't know what word you'd use for it, but how he was after the decision. He's made a statement. I would like to congratulate Oleksandr Usyk's success in your quest for greatness. Or sorry, I wish Oleksandr Usyk continued success in his quest for greatness. You are a class act champ. Yesterday, I had to mentally take myself into a dark place to compete for the championship belts. I had 2 fights, one with Usyk, one with my emotions, and one got the better of me. I'll be the first to admit I let myself down. I acted out of pure passion and emotion, and when not controlled, it ain't great. I love this sport so much. I'll be better from this point on. Respect. Okay. I was watching Outmatch Boxing. A shout out to Outmatch Boxing channel there on screen, by the way. Great channel. Had him on. He's recently just hit 1,000 subs, so delighted for you. But I was watching his video on it, and I'll pin his video in the comment section. It was a very good video. It was a very good video. And he kind of said that, and I can see where he's coming from with this, where he basically said that AJ has probably gone into this fight full of belief, full of confidence, wanting to reclaim these titles. And when you do, and you go that extra level, and you're giving it all, and you know in there the guy is still better than you, it's gotta hurt. And it could take a toll on your emotions mentally, because AJ's lost before and he's never reacted like this out of pure just emotion. He's lost to Usyk because he's never reacted like this, and it's just so strange. You know, you seen him angry. There was people saying he was having a go at Lomachenko. Then he was kind of having a bit of a but he was having words with Usyk at the end, and it just was bizarre. You could tell Usyk wasn't happy with it. And I think it's a weird one. I got the impression that was AJ kind of... I said at the time, and I think it could be still an element of this, that was AJ where it had just all built up. The last few years, all the emotion, all the pressure, and he just said, enough's enough, I gotta speak. And maybe that was what it was, because it was very interesting to see. It was bizarre to see, but very interesting to see. And I really... still kind of don't fully know what to make of it now. As I said, he went on to have that statement, so we'll see what happens. And, a few people, he even actually got emotional in the press conference after Anthony Joshua did. There was a few tears and stuff like that. So, yeah, look, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens from then on. Again, I think he needs to go train with Robert Garcia, get into camp with him, and get his head back screwed on. I think that's the best thing for Anthony Joshua. Enjoy the fact now. I know it's not, you say, gee, enjoy it, he lost. I'm like, yeah, but enjoy the fact now that when you're fighting, at least for the next few fights, the pressure is just off. There's no world titles on the lines. There's no tough mandatories. There's no unifications. You're not carrying the weight. Well, maybe you still are carrying the weight of the zone, but it's probably not going to be as heavy on your shoulders as Sky or something like that was. So maybe enjoy the fact that you can box now for just I know AJ, he's 33 in October, so he's hardly, you can hardly say he's young. Well, he is young, but you know what I mean in boxing terms. But maybe just enjoy the fact that you can spend the next few fights trying to rebuild yourself. Away, you're not going to be away from the spotlight, but you know what I mean, away from all the pressure. So we'll see how that goes. Let's have a quick look here at the scorecards. Let's look at Glenn Feldman's scorecard, because honestly, Glenn Feldman was interviewed by Rob Tebbert from ID Boxing, and you could tell he wasn't exactly happy to be interviewed. You could just tell. And of course, Rob asked him about the fight and his scorecard, and he just kept saying, ask my supervisor. Well, let me tell you his scorecard. I might do a separate video on this. First round, who did he give it to? Anthony Joshua. Second round, Anthony Joshua. Third round, Anthony Joshua. Fourth round, Usyk. Fifth round, Joshua. Sixth round, Joshua. So he gave Usyk 1 out of the first 6 rounds of the fight. The second and third round was a better round for Joshua, but the third round could have went either way. But after that, Usyk kind of started to pull a bit away. He was having more clear rounds. He really was trying. If he could have, he would have robbed AJ in that fight. 100%. If he could have, he would have robbed AJ, given half the chance. The other 2 judges, The 115, 113, I still think that was a little bit too close. Just for me, it was just a little bit too close. But crazy. But that's just what we get. It's just the way it is now. You kind of come to expect it now in boxing. You do kind of come to expect it now in boxing. Bob Arum moving on from AJ Usyk. Oh, actually, there was the Showtime card, which I was actually going to forget to talk about. But Omar Figueroa got beat by Sergey Lipinets. Let's have a look-see at his resume. Figueroa. Now, you may know Omar Figueroa was due to take on Adrian Broner this week. Now, he didn't, and on 5 days' notice, Sergey Lipinets stepped in. He's coming back down in weight. I think Lipinets' most recent fight was up at 147 pounds, where he got knocked out badly by Boots Ennis. I don't know if he's fought since then, has he? No. So his last fight was literally against Boots Ennis in April last year. So he's not fought since then. He was knocked out badly in that fight. He's back down at 140. Took the Omar Figueroa fight on 5 days' notice. Beat Figueroa up. Stopped him in 8 rounds. Figueroa is an absolute waster. That's basically what Figueroa is. I mean, he's lost his last 3 fights. I think it was... I can't remember who it was against. I think he was due to fight someone in 2019 or 2018, and he got DUI'd in training camp. I mean, like, from 2015 to 2019, he had 3 fights. He's an absolute waster. I mean, Omar Figueroa and Adrian Broner, it's like just 2 absolute F-ups. Of 2 F-ups, but Broner decided to pull out, and in steps Lipinets. He beat up Figueroa and stopped him in 8. Would you call it an upset? I wouldn't. I mean, Figueroa, he's done. He's done. Now, I know Emmanuel Navarrete won his fight last time, but I didn't see it. A few people said that he didn't look good in it, so I haven't seen it yet. If anyone wants to let me know in the comments how Emmanuel Navarrete looked, let me know. Bob Arum has indicated now that Josh Taylor has now vacated his IBF title after all. So basically this Jack Catterall fight is just purely going to be, it's not as a flight line, it's just purely going to be for the WBO. It's not going to be for any other title, and you would imagine that thereafter he'd move up in weight. You would imagine that he's just going to move up in weight then to 147, because he's not undisputed anymore. He's hardly going to go looking for another to chase undisputed again. So we will get to see Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall just for 1 title. I mean, Jack Catterall should be undisputed champion, or should have had his moment as undisputed, but he has a chance to at least pick up a title. Anthony Yarde versus Beterbiev. That was the talk was that was going to happen in October. Well, now it's apparently going to happen in 2023, early 2023. Beterbiev is injured again. Now, Beterbiev has been having a few problems with injuries over the last few years. You know, they say timing is everything, and I do wonder about Beterbiev for the simple reason is that he's not been the most active. He's had a few injuries. I know he lives a fairly clean lifestyle. He's never really taken any big beatings in the ring, but at some point you kind of just start thinking, oh, could he just grow old overnight? And you kind of worry about that. Like someone like Anthony Yarde, he'll probably have a stay busy fight, a tune-up fight. They'll probably get someone. I don't think you'll be able to get away with giving him the normal cream puffs. They'll probably get someone out who on paper looks good but isn't. But 2023 for Beterbiev. He also has Callum Smith as a mandatory now as well. So Beterbiev is going to be busy. This goes on into the next one, which I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait for this fight. I hope it's legit and I hope it happens. Dmitry Bivol versus Gilberto Zuda Ramirez is now reportedly agreed November 5th UAE. So that's a mandatory defense of the WBA title for Dmitry Bivol against Zuda Ramirez. I like that fight. I think it's tremendous. I give Zurdo an excellent chance in that fight. I think a lot of people would sleep on him, because maybe they don't think he's looked amazing at light heavyweight. I think he's looked alright at light heavyweight personally. He's massive at the weight. He's long. He can box well. He can switch hit. He can fight with both hands. I think Zurdo is a live opponent in this. I think that's going to be a fantastic fight, Bivol versus Zurdo. And at the end of the day, I'm surprised they're letting him take this fight, truth be told, because if Canelo is really looking at going down and having a rematch with Bivol next year, well, against Buatsi, you'd be fairly sure that he'd give Dmitry Bivol that fight. Be fairly sure he'd win that fight. Against Zurdo, I'm not confident at all. and Canelo, that would mean if he wanted to fight Zurdo Ramirez, it's a big fight in Mexico. Imagine that, Cinco de Mayo weekend. It would be Zurdo was still a Golden Boy fighter, so he'd probably have to go back on the Golden Boy and the Zone for that. I know he's been fighting on the Zone, but with Golden Boy, would he want to do that? But I think that fight's tremendous, absolutely tremendous. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's a great fight. And to end it here, we'll just finish it off here. So I seen that Gary Cully has announced that he's signed with Matchroom, and he had a little tease in his poster of the Tree Arena, which is basically Dublin, Ireland's kind of O2 arena. It's much smaller, but it's still a big enough arena. That's going to be where he's fighting next. I hope that's true, because it'd be great for Dublin, it'd be great for Ireland to have that in. But that's a good move for him, because he's quite an exciting lightweight. I suspect he could be facing Maxie Hughes next. I'm just assuming. Now, I know Maxie Hughes, there was rumours he was meant to be fighting Kid Galahad at 135, so Kid Galahad moving up 2 weight divisions. But I've heard literally nothing from him since the loss to Kiko Martinez. He's been in the wilderness. So Gary Cully with Matchroom, I think that's a good move. I think that's a really, really, really good move for him. Hopefully we'll get to see some more shows in Dublin then. I think boxing in Ireland needs that, it really does. So people, I'm going to end that there. I don't think it's been the longest review of the week in the world. I think we're in around the 20-minute mark, which for me, I think that's just about right. I mean, it was mainly going to be AJ Usyk, let's be frank. Mainly AJ Usyk. Obviously, we had the Wilder announcement last week. He going in there with Hellenius. But the aftermath of AJ Usyk, it's interesting. It's a very interesting one, and I think we are going to be eating off this for a while to come yet. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you all enjoyed the video, people. If you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's been a great last couple of days, last couple of weeks really, last couple of months on the channel. We're at 8,972 at the time of recording this, 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. So hopefully this week we can hit 9k. Maybe in the next few days we can get to 9k, and then obviously it's onwards to 10. 10 is the next step. So it's in sight, people. It's in sight. Once after 9, then there comes 10. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Just even saying that sounds crazy. But appreciate all the support over the last few days. Obviously, I hope all of you have a good week. It obviously goes out about 7 a.m. on a Monday morning for those on the way to work. I know a lot of people like listening to it on the way to work. But I hope you all have a great week. Hope you all get some good news. I've got a big day today, because technically it's going out on a Monday. So hopefully I wish us luck. Hopefully Lady Luck is down on us. I really do hope. I hope so. God almighty, I hope so. But I'll leave you with that. Smash the like button. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I'll talk to you people. Peace.